Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you again on this platform. This is Glocal Leadership Perspectives, and this is a platform where we discuss issues concerning leadership, and we try as much as possible to make those complex situations more palatable to us. And so today I would want to pick something that happened on this flamboyant wedding that took Kenyans by storm. And this is the wedding of Akothes. I want to point out the flamboyant splash of money by at least the two public servants or public figures, and this is the CS Aisha and the MP for Langata, Mr. Jalango. I saw they really splashed a lot of a substantive amount of money to the newly couple, and I have to say from the onset that it's not a bad idea to gift someone, and even to gift someone money in such an occasion, and also during such event, and given that it had been attended by quite a number of celebrities, then probably everyone wanted to pull her or his string so as to keep the headlines. And for me, I have issue with this particular gesture of splashing the money, and even in the manner to which the money was splashed to the newlywed. And again, I have to admit that I'm questioning this conduct, not necessarily because the money would be sufficient, even if the money would have been distributed amongst the Kenyans, but with the view that these are public figures and they are there to serve Kenyans. I take an issue with them, and one of the issue I'm looking at this the thing they did, I'm looking at it as an insult to Kenyans. I'm sorry to use such a language, but the reason why I'm looking at it in that context, it is because currently, and this is Kenya is not exclusively where this thing is concerned that I'm about to say. Kenya is going through financial challenges. It is not a secret, and so people are really straining. And these constraints, especially financial constraint, as a result of our economy that is faced with a lot of turbulence, to have such leaders who should be there to feel or to empathize with the fellow Kenyans, they would instead go ahead and splash money. And how would people that are perhaps going or even do not have food or have not had food even for 1 week, how will they look at it? People who have had no income even for a while, how will they look at it? Of course, as I said earlier on, the money they provided is not sufficient to even feed even 1,000 Kenyans. And again, it was their money. But by the virtue that they are public servants, they are leaders, people who ought to carry themselves with their particular decorum, I find that, especially in regard to the harsh circumstances that Kenyans are going through, the harsh economic circumstances, this was not a good gesture. They would have made it slightly soft or not that loud as it was. So that's why I'm looking at it as especially people would interpret it as an insult to Kenyans, because these are the very people who later on will go out and say, understand us, the economy is bad, it's okay, but then what are you doing yourself? You have a responsibility and you are accountable to the larger community of Kenya. So that I did not take it lightly with them. Number two, I also find it as unethical, and also as leaders who are there to serve Kenyans who are completely insensitive. Unethical because people are going through harsh times. Then you splash in a show. You suggest, I have plenty, I have sufficient. And to where you are splashing, it can only be taken as it is for show, and so that you can carry headlines, and so that to take advantage of it, and how others will look at it as cloud chasing. Why would they not, for example, say, okay, maybe in honor of that wedding, we're going to feed maybe children in Turkana, or going to feed hungry children in Slum, or even we're going to provide a good shelter maybe to one or two elderly persons who do not have shelter. And so I'm looking at it completely with a lot of skepticism, and so they were completely insensitive to really what Kenyans are going through. And this, it is so because they have a responsibility as leaders, and that should be seen. And number three, and the last thing, and I would like to point out where this flamboyant splash of money is concerned. I want to look at it as a bad model. As again, I'm insisting, it's not bad to gift a couple or any other money in the public with money, but looking at them and their responsibility, their offices, and in the context of what Kenya is going through, I would say this is only a bad model, and maybe it's a bad model in reference to what Kenya is going through and in reference to the circumstance. Maybe if people were not going through that particular kind of situation, then in the public eye it will not be judged that way. But because of the unique circumstance that Kenyans are facing, then I feel this was completely a bad model. As much as probably they wanted to fill their part and parcel of the high profile of celebrities that had attended the occasion, I feel it was done probably in good faith, but in bad taste, especially in the context of just leaders who are sensitive, and leaders who are there to serve as a model. So I take issues with it, and I feel that as Kenyans we will be sensitive and find a way of not necessarily provoking people more, or even making people to really feel that you lead us as leaders, you do not care and you're not concerned. Then we need to be careful, because leaders are public figures, and so anything that is done in the public, it is bound to be scrutinized, to be analyzed, and to see whether it meets the threshold of the particular office that you are holding. So the King bless Kenya, and we hope that this kind of mannerism will not happen again. The King bless you.